share an incredible journey. Share new friends. Share a miraculous status. Share something that needs to be stopped. Share something that should never stop. Share humanity. This August 19th, donate your social feed to share stories that matter. Visit worldhumanitarianday.org.
In a world that is ever more digitally connected, each of us has the power and responsibility to inspire our fellow human beings to act to help others and create a more human world. Those were the words of UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon on the occasion of the World Humanitarian Day that is celebrated every year on 19th of August. The day was designated by the United Nations General Assembly to coincide with the anniversary of the 2003 bombing of the United Nations headquarters in Baghdad, Iraq. World Humanitarian Day is a time to recognize those who face danger and adversity in order to help others.
The World Humanitarian Day is marked on the 19th of August of each year. It marks the memory of bombing the UN headquarters in Baghdad in 2003, which caused and killing approximately 22 people from international organizations, along with the resident coordinator there, Sergio D'Amelio, injuring 100 people from different organizations. So the General Assembly of the United Nations decided to mark that day to highlight the efforts of all humanitarian and aid workers around the world. Give them the benefit that they are leaving their comfort zones, they're leaving their lifestyle, they're leaving their homes, their loved ones to put themselves in danger in the line of duty from diseases, from armed conflicts, from being targeted. As you know that recently the humanitarian and aid workers around the world are being targeted by different groups, knowing that they have the relief items, whether if it's medical or food items, whether if it's political reasons or religious reasons, they try to stop them and bomb them or kidnap them. We have the toll of like 155 people who have been killed in 2013 and 14, and this number is increasing along the years. So World Humanitarian Day technically highlights the efforts of all these humanitarian and brave aid workers that we call them heroes. Kuwait, this is the third time for Kuwait to celebrate World Humanitarian Day, and this is due to being present, due to opening the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Kuwait, and being present on the ground facilitated a lot of things which allowed the Kuwaiti communities from different communities to join a global celebration or an event. World Humanitarian Day in Kuwait was celebrated first in 2013 under the theme "The World Needs More," and then the public will choose a word that represents the need for the world, whether if it's speed, whether if it's happiness, whether if it's rainbows, whether if it's love, humanity, whatever the word you choose that the world you feel that the world needs more of, you choose it.
World Humanitarian Day is considered an opportunity to celebrate the spirit that inspires humanitarian work around the globe. This year, the UN and its humanitarian partners invite all people to inspire the world's humanity. The theme calls to join any of the world's humanitarian organizations and become an active messenger of humanity. This is a day to celebrate humanitarians around the world. In an effort to build a global sense of momentum, the United Nations called on messengers of humanity to take an important social action on this day and share them on the social networks and amplify the message.
This year's campaign is Share Humanity, which is a purely social media campaign, encourages all people to engage. As you know, the world now is ruled by social media. So having all these communities, the community of bloggers, the community of influencers, fashionistas, and popular people like musicians and influential governmental people to engage in a social media campaign where they can share and repost stories from the field of humanitarian aid workers. we encourage all people for this year's campaign to donate their social media accounts for one day, which is 19th of August, to repost humanitarian stories that they hear, and follow the official account on Instagram for World Humanitarian Day in Kuwait, which is called WHDKW, and repost whatever we post on that account.
This year, more than 100 million women, men and children need life-saving humanitarian assistance. The amount of people affected by conflict has reached levels not seen since the Second World War, while the number of those affected by natural and human-induced disasters remains profound. On this day, we celebrate our common humanity. The families and communities struggling to survive in today's emergencies do so with resilience and dignity. They need and deserve our renewed commitment to do all we can to provide them with the means for a better future. World Humanitarian Day, the day that honors all humanitarians who have worked in the promotion of the humanitarian cause, and those who have lost their lives in the cause of duty. It aims to increase public awareness about humanitarian assistance activities worldwide and the importance of international cooperation. Many communities and organizations try to increase the importance of humanitarians by distributing publicity and information material. Additionally, some try to speak to the press to help spread these key messages of World Humanitarian Day, while other groups organize public events worldwide that feature humanitarian work. Humanitarians provide life-saving assistance to millions of people worldwide. They place their own lives at risk to help others in conflict zones and areas of natural hazards. More than 700 humanitarian workers have died or experienced the most dangerous situations while trying to help those in need. Humanitarians provide support for different world challenges such as hunger, gender-based violence, refugees and displaced people, help for children, as well as clean water and access to sanitation.
The difference between humanitarian and charitable work is simple. There's a thin line between them because charitable work is part of the humanitarian. It comes under the umbrella of humanitarian, but it's a department of humanitarian work. So if you donate extra clothes that you have, if you donate food that you have, extra food you have inside a country that there is no disaster or something that is affecting the entire population, it's called charitable work. But if you're doing something that, like if you're leaving your comfort zone, if you're traveling, if you're doing a pro bono surgery, if you're a doctor, if you're living in a camp with other people to help them cope with the lifestyle that they have right now, that is affecting the entire population of one country, that is called a humanitarian crisis. So this is the difference. It's a simple difference between humanitarian and charitable work, but it falls under the same umbrella. Just like the developmental humanitarian work that's happening, like the reconstructing the infrastructure, building schools, building hospitals and mosques. So these are the differences between the categories of humanitarian work, but they all fall under one thing. If you find a story online or in any social media that is worth reposting, please do, because our campaign this year is all about sharing humanity. So first of all, tag the hashtag, include the hashtag in your post that says share humanity. Second, repost it or tag the account of World Humanitarian Day in Kuwait, the campaign, which is WHDKW.
The World Humanitarian Day seeks to draw attention to humanitarian needs worldwide and the importance of international cooperation in meeting these needs. Every year, disasters cause immense suffering for millions of people, usually the world's poorest, most marginalized, and vulnerable individuals. Humanitarian aid workers strive to provide life-saving assistance and long-term rehabilitation to disaster-affected communities, regardless of where they are in the world and without discrimination based on nationality, social group, religion, sex, race, or any other factor. Humanitarian aid is based on a number of founding principles, including humanity, impartiality, neutrality, and independence. Humanitarian aid workers should be respected and be able to access those in need in order to provide vital assistance. Humanitarian aid workers can be international, but most come from the country in which they work. They reflect all cultures, ideologies, and backgrounds, and they are united by their commitment to humanitarianism. Everyone can be a humanitarian. People affected by disasters are often the first to help their own communities following a disaster.
It was such a great honor, a great pride for all of us to celebrate, to acknowledge His Highness, because he has been such a great leader, a real model for the entire political leadership. So I'm glad that one year we will be celebrating, and we have a number of activities, a number of plans to take it forward, and we're discussing with our partners in the Ministry of Information, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and others, how do we come out with a program which covers various elements to showcase not only the leadership and the contribution of the people and the leadership of Kuwait, but which can also encourage, and motivate other countries to come forward and also to contribute towards the millions and millions of people who are suffering across the globe, not only in this region, but other regions of the world really. And I specifically would like to refer to the World Humanitarian Day, which is coming up on 19th of August, with the theme of shared humanity. And I think that's a great message. It clearly shows that we are all together. We have to work with each other, we have to support each other. And I'm so glad that we have a leader like His Highness Amir to lead us and to help us to achieve that particular noble objective of being a shared humanity. The leadership is not only to stand up and saying it's important, but to deliver, and there should be an action-oriented support. So the government and the people of Kuwait has been extremely generous under the leadership of His Highness, and I just want to give you a few examples. Not only we always refer to the Syrian crisis, which has already affected more than 12 million people, inside Kuwait, Syria, and also in the neighboring countries. Here, the Kuwait has really led in terms of not only bringing the global community together by organizing the last 3 pledging conferences within 3 years, which is again wonderful. It's not easy to organize these meetings, but not only these meetings were organized, but they were extremely successful. And these 3 meetings jointly has mobilized over almost $1 billion, $10 billion, and out of this, Kuwait has contributed almost $1 billion. It's 10%, which is great. One country standing up and contributing that particular thing. But not only giving pledges, but also making sure that that money comes and that money is properly used to help the refugees, especially the women, the children, the displaced. But the support from the Kuwait is not limited only to the Syria, but also other countries within the region and outside the region. Iraq, next door. Again, millions of people are suffering, and here again, Kuwait has really stood up and contributed over the last many years. Most recently, again, the government of Kuwait and His Highness has donated $200 million directly for support to the people in Iraq. I'm sure they're extremely grateful and appreciate that. I know almost 200 million plus has gone to Gaza in Palestine, which is again people in great need. But also, as a member, I was talking of shared humanity. Those people actually looking towards the leadership, and I think His Highness has really shown the way to everyone else. So 200 million again going to Gaza, and the people in Palestine. We also know that there have been problems in Philippines. This country has made contribution. I know that they have also made contribution for Ebola virus, the epidemic, which has affected again 3-4 countries, but in the entire world was worried about and concerned and impacted. So there are so many examples, and we can keep on repeating ourselves, because this country and the leadership have responded on every crisis. If it's a humanitarian crisis or it's a disaster, natural man-made disaster like earthquakes. I know in Pakistan they contributed a lot during the earthquakes in the last 4 or 5 years, during the floods, during the tsunami. So many countries have suffered, and every time the leadership and the people of Kuwait have stood up and contributed. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful example which everyone has to appreciate, celebrate and acknowledge, and hopefully also emulate to follow that in true spirit. I was actually fortunate to be there. I was in New York when the Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, gave His Highness the award. So a lot of actually excitement, a lot of appreciation, and we were working many days before, So everyone was saying that this is the least we can do for His Highness, So it was a lot of excitement, but a lot of also in terms of appreciation, And it was just a token, an opportunity for everyone to come together. And that was a great occasion, because not only the top leadership from Kuwait was there, I know that His Highness the Prime Minister was there, Excellency Mr. Marzouk, the Speaker was there, His Highness Sheikh Nasser, the former Prime Minister was there, and many other cabinet ministers and many other dignitaries. But we also saw a lot of other diplomatic missions, their representations were there, And then we also have a number of heads of the UN agencies were there. So, and I also know that a lot of people were watching on the media, millions and millions, and everyone joined that wonderful occasion, So as I said, I think I was very fortunate, I was very lucky to be there, and it doesn't happen, It was, and I've been working with the United Nations for many years, but this is the first time when I saw everyone came together to acknowledge and thank one leader, and that was the Highness of Emir of Kuwait. I hope that many more leaders will come forward and we can do. I'm sure His Highness will also appreciate. He wants other people to come forward. He wants others to follow. But for sure, this was the first of such occasion. It was very rare, very unique. United Nations doesn't usually do that, I must say. But then I know that Secretary General Mr. Ban Ki-moon, because I also was talking to him and other colleagues, he really wanted to do something to convey thank you to His Highness. Because he came here many times to talk to him and personally convey thanks, but he wanted to do something in public, So I'm so glad that His Highness had the time and the opportunity to give us the honor to be there. But it is, as I said, it was the very first time, but I hope that there will be many more occasions. And that's why the celebration, the anniversary is important. Hope we can sustain the momentum. Hope we can motivate others, hopefully can mobilize more, because crises are so many around the world, and number of people being affected is increasing every day, So we really need more support, more contribution, more generosity, more compassion, And again, I hope, the people will respond to the leadership and the call and the example of His Highness the Emir of Kuwait. thank you, His Highness. You have been wonderful. You have been my champion. You have been my leader. You have been my inspiration. And I'm not the only one. Millions and millions and millions of people across the globe recognize you as their leader, someone who is a true humanitarian leader, a person who actually, has so much passion and compassion at heart, And we know his history, and the Kuwait, it's really going on forever, So I hope that, the others, the message for me is that first of all, I hope that we will have fewer crises. It's not fair, The number of people being affected is really millions and increasing every day. So hopefully we'll have a lesser number as we move forward. So let's try to do that, lesser crisis. But in the meanwhile, let's not forget that these people need our help. Let's not forget they are in serious trouble. Let's not forget that they don't have a home. Let's not forget that they don't have education. They don't have water. They don't have food. Their families are dismantled, And a lot of people have lost their lives, But who have survived, we need to give them a dignified life. We need to give them some hope. We need to support them so that they can, in the morning, when they rise up in the morning, their children can still go to the school. They can still have a sort of respectful life in terms of shelter, in terms of food, in terms of water, in terms of livelihood. All of these things is again going back. It's a shared responsibility. It's a shared humanity. We need to stand up. We need to show them that we care, and we should care. I don't think we have a choice here. And again, I would really like to thank His Highness for showing us the example, the way, the path, the journey, and hopefully we can continue and continue making the right choices and the right kind of support which these millions of people need. Thank you.